Hello and welcome to Askapan Sexual. My name is Nice Star and this week's topic is coming out. For those who don't know, I've been in a relationship for 4 years, but I've only relatively recently come out to myself or to anyone else as a panromantic asexual. So I was in the middle of a serious relationship when I started questioning and exploring my sexuality and my gender. And yeah, I think that may have had an effect on why it took me so long just to come out to myself, but it without a doubt had an effect on how and, how long it took me. Not really how long it took me, but how I came out to someone else, and that someone else being my partner. He was the first one that I came out to. And yeah, it wasn't just one coming out. So originally, I didn't even come out as panromantic asexual. That came later. At first, I was looking into things, researching quietly, and once I was certain of something, that's when I came out to him the first time. So the first time, I came out to him as a demi-pansexual, or a demisexual pansexual. And if you don't know what demisexuality, I'll try and put an annotation about what that is. But anyway, yeah, I came out to him as demi-pansexual. And I sat him down and I explained what demisexuality was, what pansexuality was, and he was completely okay with it. And so yeah, that went really well. I knew he was open-minded before any of this. So even though I knew he was open-minded, I still, there's still that fear that coming out as anything other than, what your assumed sexuality was going into the relationship, even if the person is open-minded, there's the fear that this issue will be so big that could be like, I don't want to say deal breaker, but even for an open-minded person, that could just greatly affect the relationship beyond recovery. And I did fear that, and that wasn't the case coming out as a demi-pansexual, so I was lucky. But after I came out as this, I kept researching. My research didn't start there. I kept looking into sexualities, what sexual attraction was, and again, there was another coming out process to myself, and at the end of that, I realized that I really don't experience sexual attraction, and that I'm actually a panromantic asexual. And so I had to come out to him again, and this time he said he was okay with it, and that was great, but at the same time, there were things there that suggested to me that he wasn't actually completely okay with it. And, I understood that, because coming out as asexual, it's 4 years of a relationship for him to find out that all that time I actually wasn't sexually attracted to him. I can see how that would be really hard to take. And so yeah, I completely understood that. But yeah, so he said it was okay, but it really didn't seem like it was. So at that point, I felt like we kind of grew a bit distant in our relationship, and it was hard. But since that point, I've sat him down, we've talked several times about this whole thing, and I think things are definitely better. I don't think that my sexuality is really an issue anymore, or at least I hope it isn't. We seem to be a lot better now, anyway. Coming out to others, my family aside, I'm not cowering in the closet or anything. I wear my pride bracelets with pride. I openly go to pride and equality marches, rallies. I openly go to LGBT film festivals. I openly talk about political matters related to the LGBT community. So yeah, I drop plenty of hints with the hopes that, you know, the conversation, the topic will come up. You know, someone will ask about my pride bracelets and what the colors mean. But as of yet, nobody has. So part 2, and this is about my family and why I'm not out of the closet to them. And there are many, many reasons why I'm not out of the closet to my family. For one, they live on the other side of the world from me. It is not a problem for me to be openly out in my everyday life because they're not here to see anything. So unless I phone them up and say something, they're just not gonna know, and I haven't done that yet. I actually do want to come out to my mom, but there are reasons why I haven't come out yet. Number 1, my mom is a minister, a preacher. She is extremely religious, extremely vocal about it, very active in the community. So if I came out to her, for one, she would struggle with it personally because of her religion. Number 2, if I were to come out openly, it would affect her more than just personally. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to mess up her position in the church or anything. She would definitely probably want to keep it a secret if I did come out to her. Number 2, she's a person who blames herself for stuff, even when she is not to blame at all. So for example, when I was 17, so 10 years ago, I came out to her as an atheist or agnostic. And it took a lot of guts. Can you imagine? It took a lot of guts to come out to a minister mom about not believing in God. And to this day, 10 years later, she still casually says things occasionally that suggest that she blames herself and how she raised me for me not being religious. And it's just like, that has nothing to do with you. Stop blaming yourself for that. Jeez. And number 2, she hasn't actually said anything, but sometimes I get the feeling that at times she has blamed herself for my sister's autism. If I come out to her, I'm pretty sure that she's going to blame herself. And maybe that would only be for a few years, maybe that would be for 10 years like with the religious thing, maybe it'll be for more. But I don't want to add another cross for her to bear. You know, I don't want to add another thing for her to kick herself about. And number 3, I have a limited amount of time to come out to her. And this is a topic that I actually haven't talked to anyone else about, and I'm sorry, I'll probably get teary-eyed while talking about this. I'll try not to. But a year ago, my mom was diagnosed with a fatal type of cancer, multiple myeloma. It's a cancer of the blood. So depending on, luckily she's in the very early stages of this. But depending on the treatment and other things, she has an estimated 5 years, give or take, to live. And yeah, dealing with this has been hard for numerous reasons. Before you even bring out the matter of coming out, this was hard. So putting coming out on top of that, it's just like, yeah. So yeah, this adds a whole new layer of worry for me in coming out to her. I mean, what if I come out to her and it strains our relationship? You know, either she blames herself or she just can't come to terms with it or whatever. What if it strains our relationship, and then what if she never comes to terms with this before she passes away? What if I lay this giant burden on her that she struggles with for the last of her years, and she goes to her grave not... What if she passes away still not having come to terms with it, with our relationship still, you know, strained, with her still blaming herself? How could I live with myself? Could I live with myself having put that on her, having screwed up our relationship, and her, that being how our relationship ends? Yeah, I don't know. Could I live with that? But then when I think of it like that, I have to also think of it as, could I live with myself if I never told her, if she passed away never knowing this about me? There was a time when I was like, oh, I'll just stay in the closet forever. I don't give a damn if anyone knows. They don't need to know. And, you know, when I felt like that, I thought I'd be fine with Mom never knowing. But then the reality sets in, and I think about the fact that she actually may never know because she may actually pass away after not that many years, nowhere near what I, you know, being 28 and she's still young. I never thought that, yeah. So when I actually face reality and think about, would I be able to live with myself if she never knew? Even if I am okay with that now, years from now, where there'll be regret, if I don't come out to her, this could be something that I regret for the rest of my life. This could eat away at me for the rest of my life. The fact that I had the chance to tell her, but didn't. So it's a constant battle, weighing the pros and the cons. There are good reasons to come out to her. There are really strong reasons not to come out to her. And yeah, if you take anything from this video, I want it to be this. Some of you out there may feel like you'll never come out of the closet. You're perfectly fine in your closet. Others don't need to know, whatever. And yeah, I felt like that for a time. But you have to also consider, will you really be okay? Really be okay? If a certain person never knows. You may think that you'll be okay with it now, but really, in the future, don't assume that because you're young, that person will always be there for you to tell if you change your mind. Don't assume because you're young that you will always be there to change them, to tell them later in life, you know, if you so choose to. You have to really consider, can you live your life having someone close to you never knowing this about you? Could you really? I mean, it's so easy to think that you'd be okay with it now, but I thought I'd be okay with it, and now, yeah, I don't know. And yeah, this is something that I'm really struggling with. So yeah, I have a lot on my plate. I'm out in some regards, but not out in others, and I have a lot to think about. I have been thinking how I would come out to my mom if I did come out to her. I have been thinking what resources I would use if I did come out to her, what resources I would give her to help her cope with me coming out. Because, you know, in my case, it wouldn't just be coming out as asexual. I'd have asexuality, I'd have panromantic romantic orientations, and if I came out to her about my gender, that'd be a whole nother, you know, whole nother topic to put on her. So yeah, resources. She would definitely need resources. And I would go into what resources I'm thinking about and how I'm thinking about coming out to her, if I do come out to her. But this video is already too long, so yeah. I wish I had some concrete advice to offer you guys about coming out. But yeah, I don't really. I hope this video has helped you in some way or another. Subscribe to Askapan Sexual, check out my website Queer as Cat, and both Askapan and myself are on Tumblr at askapansexual.tumblr.com and queerascat.tumblr.com. And anyway, see you later. Bye.